NVIDIA's
So we can do what's Hondo on the mic from Leo's Paradise. Random stream drop like a Dragon Ball fight. No lie, plan stream stacking up, but here's a twist in time. Freestyling on the deck like Luffy's punchlines. Up the channels faster than Zoro sword swings. Gaming pop culture, it's the chaos he brings. Talking movie reboots, superhero hype. Hondo passing the mic, now Bishop's in sight. Cutting flip screen, frame by frame, I align. Laying bass lines heavy, keep the rhythm divine. Dropping fire videos, can't keep up with the pace. Pass the mic back, Leo's leading the chase. Off the rails, no script, just a freestyle ride. Nerdcore king, let the randomness collide. Playing or not, Leo's got the flow to entice. It's words of paradise, the chaos comes to life. No script, just a freestyle ride. Nerdcore king, let the randomness collide. Plan or not, Leo's got the flow to entice. It's words of paradise, the chaos comes to life. Off the rails, no script, just a freestyle ride. Nerdcore king, let the randomness collide. Plan or not, Leo's got the flow to entice. It's words of paradise, the chaos comes to life.
Welcome back to the lunch hour. How you vital idols doing? Oh, look at that. All you weekend workers, let's give you something to just relax to. Take it easy. It's a Saturday. We're going to have a nice chill day and hopefully get you through some work. Beyond that, let's see how y'all are doing. Let's see who we got in here. We got St. Hugo. How you doing, brother? The ever-lovely Piranha Pad is here. Jamma Lama in the house. You'll love to see it. Kalika Gamer saying, hola, amigos. Philip Morgan. Shout out, Philip Morgan. We got Cryptic Manga. Oh, the big three argument happening like once a month. Well, what can I say? I saw an article about it. Thought that it could be interesting. But we also got plenty more to go over. Obviously, there's what's in the title. It's up with the big three. There's some Sonic Lost Media. You guys threw some what looked to be cool videos in the reaction channel. So, yeah, we're going to see if we can get through as much of that as possible. We got some stuff about a Shin Godzilla sequel, which, I mean, look, I love me some Shin Godzilla. Everyone loves Godzilla Minus One. And Godzilla Minus One is two. I like Godzilla Minus One. But Shin Godzilla doesn't get enough love. Before we get into any of that, I want to start off with one of the videos that was actually put in the reaction request channel, and it's from Metatron. Now, if you guys know anything, I was shown Metatron on one of these streams a long time ago, maybe it was a Sunday special stream, or no, it was back on Neon Leon when I would do the second hour of the show would be the reaction request. So it's been a long time, but someone showed me Metatron. I think it was Jim Harrison. And I'd never heard of the guy. I'd never seen his channel, nothing. And I've just been an avid viewer since. Anytime you guys recommend Metatron videos, always gives me hype. And he popped out this video saying, new and ancient Egyptian DNA uncovers the truth once and for all. Now, I have no idea what the context of this is, but I'm always down for a Metatron video. So we're going to start off hot. We're going to start off in front. We're going to check this out. Let's go. What up, Mike with the Fruit Whisper? Homie, they get me clipped with the Final Fantasy music out the gate. God damn it, Metatron.
Non-sponsored, ladies and gentlemen, non-sponsored. You know what's funny? I'm celebrating, Nicholas, if you knew. Ancient
Metatron Neon Leon win. I would love to see that happen. Start tagging the dude and tell him to reach out to me because his DMs are closed on X, I'm pretty sure. I would love to interview the guy on Neon Leon. So y'all can make that happen. What up, Rebnat Scoobla?
Egyptian Fanta, so here's the thing.
Hey, Dempsey's in the house. How you doing, Dempsey?
Dear noble ones, today's the day. Today is the day of vindication. It is the day of vengeance. Today's the day, my friends. So on Nature here, but I've got a few open ready here in the tabs. We read, first human genome from ancient Egypt sequence from 4,800 years old teeth. 40
Bro, 5,000-year-old teeth. That's gonna be some wild stuff. I have no idea where they're going with this. Again, the title is very vague. The title is very cryptic. It just says Egyptian DNA uncovers the truth once for all. The truth about what? We talking aliens? We talking metahumans? We talking turns out Netflix was right and Cleopatra was black all along? Yeah, we was not Kangs exactly, Rabnad. What we talking here? Let's go.
years after the first effort to extract mummy DNA, researchers have finally generated a full genome sequence from an ancient Egyptians. Big deal. And you know why this is a big deal, noble ones? This is a big deal because of the date. You see, this is not genome from an ancient Egyptians from the New Kingdom. This is not a genome of, but it's Ptolemaic Egypt. No, sir. This is from the very
See, I would love it. It was aliens. 100% it was aliens. I, too, am on Team Alien.
beginning of Egyptian history. We've got a full genome. So, if we consider some of the debates that I've had online over the years, this guy should be from what? Sudan? Am I right? Because if he's not, then we're going to have a problem. Because this is the very beginning of ancient Egypt. And I'll tell you all the details on who this person was, but let me just say that if anyone...
All right, let's take some bets. Let's take some bets. Where were the ancient, like we talking about the very first Egyptians from? Where let's see. I'm guessing it's gonna be something wild that nobody saw coming, like maybe China or like the East or something like that. This is a genome from someone who was alive during the Old Testament. That is exactly correct, Dempsey. Exactly correct.
is going to try and say, oh, probably a tourist. This guy was pretty high, elite, pottery worker. So no, this was an ancient Egyptian, all right? Oldest and most complete ancient Egyptian human genome ever sequenced reveals ties to...
I'm muted, didn't realize it. I know this is, Mesopotamia seems like a pretty obvious answer. I don't know why anyone would find this to be, like, huge news. I thought this was probably relatively common knowledge. I mean, again, cradle of life and whatnot. But, yeah, no, so if this is going to be, I'm curious to find out why you were able to make an almost 40-minute video on, revealing the ties to Mesopotamia.
I'm sorry, I need to do that.
Mesopotamia.
But this is not, you've seen nothing. You've seen nothing. Now here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. Ancient Egyptian genome reveals 4,500-year-old genetic ties to Mesopotamia. This is a big deal. So this study is a study that is very recent, very recent. Finally, we see an ancient Egyptian genetic connections, and it's Levantine. Man, I've been saying this. Anyways, this is the actual study. This is the full study. I've already read the entire thing, which took a while. I'll be honest with you. And when it comes to the genomic stuff, and all the
Holy
detailed
shit! Yeah,
explanation,
that's
I
quite
think
the
I might
study.
need help from a professional, but regardless of that, regardless of that, my friends, and for this one, I'm opening.
What up,
chat
Sergeant Van
because I
Zant?
need to see what everyone and share the truth once and for all. I need to open this to everyone. Everyone. Now, it's not, I'll be honest, okay? Because you know me, I'm always intellectually honest, regardless of what people say. Of course, this is one person. So it's not that now I'm going to say every single ancient Egyptians had ties to the Levant, or that every single one had ties. But
Hey there, Lucy Clown Conte, how you doing? We starting the day off educational. It's Saturday, but that doesn't mean we can't learn. If you want to kick back and play your video games and bask in the sun, you could do so while getting yourself educated.
because I'm not the one who says they were all black, but I'm the one who said they were mixed. It seems like a certain expansion and population relocation already was a thing at the very beginning of ancient Egypt, as we always said. And now we have proof. So how about we have a look? Let's read a little bit from here, read a bit from there, and then we see. So, teeth from an elderly man who lived around the time that the earliest pyramids were built have yielded the first full human genome sequence from ancient Egypt. And I'm all for it. The remains are 4,800 to 4,500 year old, overlapping with a period in Egyptian history known as the Old Kingdom of the Age of the Pyramid. They harbor signs of ancestry similar to that of other ancient North Africans as well as people from the Middle East, researchers report today in Nature. This is huge. And I'll show you, because what we are reading today, if you do this, okay, it shouldn't be that surprising. Because you see, when people claim that...
I mean, again, that's what I said. Like again, Mesopotamia is credited as the birthplace of life. If we're talking about some of the oldest humans, at least the oldest humans in a civilized age, I should say, because obviously humanity goes back far more thousands of years than just 4,800. But, yeah, I would think that Mesopotamia was... I mean, I don't know... Was there some sort of great lie or whatever being told that the Egyptians didn't come from this region? Or, again, like, where were people... Where was the mainstream media? Where was big science and whatnot claiming Egyptians were from? I guess I would have to know that to find this that impressive. But I don't, because this is the sort of thing that, like... Maybe I'm just of an older vintage than some folk online nowadays, but this was kind of alluded to even in our history textbooks in, like, the 6th grade, so...
The ancient Egyptians' origin is down here, they're out of their mind. When they say it's from here, I'm like, okay, fine, I can see some people moving, great. If they say from Sudan, I'm like, well, that's relatively close. And one thing that I do agree with a lot of people that are usually my intellectual opponents, but I still will say it if I agree, is that if we consider the African humid period, then yeah, the Sahara wasn't a barrier if we go really, really back in time. Like I'm talking 14,000 years ago, all the way up to 5,000 years ago, this was green and all that, so it wasn't a complete blockage. Problem is that what they fail to admit is that there is no barrier here either. And what people often don't realize, I suppose, is that the African continent is literally connected by land to Asia and the Near East, which means you can walk it. So how...
Well, I mean, what did I say at the beginning of the video? They came from the east.
How are people okay with thinking that the ancient Egyptians, they were all from this area, they're okay with them going through this, but when you say, but what about population movement like this, not to mention that you can move by sea, and we know for a fact that all of these populations, see the Phoenicians, for example, did move by sea. So you can do this by sea, and you can do
What up,
this
Sleeping
by
Nova?
land. And yet they act as if there is a massive barrier here, which makes absolutely no sense. And now, not only we had clear indication of cultural continuity and connections between people from the Levant and ancient Egypt, because if ancient Egypt had zero connection to this section of the world and the Eastern Mediterranean, it would literally be the only North African area in the sea that would have zero connection, since Libya has those connections. Tunisia and Carthage, we just demonstrated that it's connected to the entirety of the Aegean, in fact, and to Europe up to a certain extent. And I know they're going to hate me for saying that, but I'm not saying it. DNA analysis is, and that's the same all the way here.
That's going to be a great thing to fall back on. I'm not saying it. DNA says it. Okay, well, who's this DNA guy? Like, I'm digging it. Let's go.
All of this coastline, including my beautiful island of Sicily, is being continuously moved, showed population clusters from this area to go, but for some reasons they didn't go to Egypt. It is obvious that this is a conduit of multi-ethnicity. It is multi-ethnic like the rest of it, of this area here, but yet they act like this is a barrier. Well, it's not, and now we have proof, because the one single complete genome that we have from this period.
How pissed do you think? Looking at this map, how pissed off do you think Lepty's going to be watching his video, if they can even stomach watching a Megatron video, because apparently he's a right-wing chud now or whatever, seeing that we've got Israel on the map. So it says Israel instead of Palestine. How much do you think that's just going to burn all these people up that do these studies and whatnot?
Genetically connected to this area of the... What you going to say now? Are you going to admit, oh wow, this goes... Of course not. They're going to say it's a lie. But who cares? I'm making this video for you, not for them. Abstract. Ancient Egyptian society flourished for millennia, reaching its peak during the dynastic period, approximately 3150 to 30 BC. However, owing to poor DNA...
Always based when he says BC and AD instead it's BCE shit and whatnot. There's no before common era. It's before Christ. It worked for years. Don't need to change it. Like, yes. Again, base Metatron.
Preservation questions about regional interconnectivity over time have not been addressed because whole genome sequencing has not yet been possible. Here we sequenced a 2 times coverage whole genome from an adult male Egyptian excavated at Nuwariat. Sorry if I mispronounced it. This is south of Cairo, well, not too far from Memphis, in fact. Radiocarbon dated 2800 to 2800 BC, okay? He lived a few centuries after Egyptian unifications, bridging the early dynastic and old kingdom periods. The body was interred in a ceramic pot within a rock-cut tomb. And by the way, it's because he was a potter, among other things, potentially contributing to the DNA preservation. Most of his genome is...
because he's a potter, they buried him in a pot. Like, imagine that for other professions. Like, hey, this dude made shoes. So we buried him, we cremated him, put him in some Nikes. Like, that's gotta be rough.
Best represented by North African Neolithic ancestry among available sources at present. Yes, approximately 20% of his genetic ancestry can be traced to genomes representing the Eastern Fertile Crescent, including Mesopotamia and surrounding regions. So, this ancient Egyptian, we don't know how typical he was, but this ancient Egyptian has ties to local populations in North Africa and the Levant. Nothing further down. This genetic affinity is similar to the ancestry appearing in Anatolia and the Levant during the Neolithic and Bronze Age. But we did see that already the Carthaginians had Anatolian ancestry and Aegean ancestry, DNA and makeup. And once again, we see the same in Egypt. And it shouldn't surprise us because, again, North Africa is in the Mediterranean. This is what...
He's right. It shouldn't surprise us. I'm actually more surprised because I had never heard this narrative that the ancient Egyptians, I'm talking like the ancient Egyptians, the ones we're referring to here, didn't come from the East. Like, again, maybe things have been retconned since I've gotten out of school, but I've never heard this narrative that they had to have come from the South, that they had to have come from the West. So, yeah, this isn't a surprise to me, but I don't know. When did history get retconned like this? Like a Marvel Universe comic reboot or whatever?
These people did. Whether you like it or not, these were seafarers. And they were settlers, they were colonizers, and they were spreading for economic reasons. Sometimes it's more a trade network. Although more genomes are needed to fully understand the genomic diversity of early Egyptians, as I was saying, of course, I'm not going to say one is enough, but according to certain people, this should have been a...
It was after the latest crisis events, exactly.
The contacts between Egypt and the Eastern Fertile Crescent were not limited to objects and imagery, such as domesticated animals and plants, as well as writing systems, but also encompassed human migration. And human migration means intermixing. And intermixing is exactly what we are finding here, since 20% is from the Levant. This is phenomenal, guys. This is like, it's exactly what I've been expecting. Like, all the years...
Ginty Maxi says, it's as simple as Egypt being on the African continent. Somehow that makes it automatically African, even though nowhere else is this acceptable. I remember, that next one's from Rabdad. I mean, yeah, and again, the continents themselves, at least by my knowledge, they weren't named, they weren't mapped, at least to this degree. Like, people didn't just instantly think that, oh, this whole region here is Africa. We stay within Africa. It's not like there were borders. I mean, obviously, there were borders and whatnot. There were countries, there were civilizations. But it wasn't, mapped out and marked out in what we looked at, as the modern, as modern countries. I mean, the maps change all the time, or at least they used to, due to things like conquest, colonization. So, yeah, again, this is just it's a weird... A weird, thing that I had never heard of. I had never heard of this narrative that Egyptians couldn't come from the East.
Where we were looking at the pictorial evidence, we were looking at debating all the ways of, but it depends, because the colors and the pigments, and then, but what about these vases? Because these vases are used as well, the same techniques are used in Mesopotamia. And they were like, no, because not from this place. We fought over this for years. Kept telling me I was lying. And now Genomic, they do one, and he points to the Fertile Crescent.
Oh, shit, I appreciate that. Thank you, Dempsey. The name Africa was first used by the Romans to describe parts of the Carthaginian Empire in the 2nd century BCE. BC, you mean? BC. Specifically referring to regions in present-day Tunisia. Awesome. I did not know that. Thank you.
0 DNA from Sudan or Horn of Africa and whatnot. It is notable that both our QPADM modeling and a mixture clustering excluded any substantial ancestry in the Nuwariat genome related to the 4,500-year-old genome from...
Also completely unrelated, but as somebody's been looking into upgrading my microphone, seeing Seanhead, someone with millions of subscribers, seeing Metatron, someone with, I believe, hundreds of thousands of subscribers, rocking the same mic as me, does make me feel better about myself, though I do need to get a boom arm.
Mota, Ethiopia, or other Central, Eastern, or Southern Africa. Southern Africa. I'm sorry. This is... Get a drink. Ooh, we need
Do
a
that
drink.
Final Fantasy victory dance. You've earned it, son.
Metatron. But Metatron,
I appreciate the source,
you are
Dempsey.
being excessively pedantic. I know. New Metatron plushie limited pedantic edition has just dropped. Link in the description. Featuring historically accurate medieval brigandine, historically accurate hair length, and the words pedantic under his feet. He's very pedantic. If you like my channel, this is a great way to support the production of videos that are
Dude,
deeply researched. and
imagine,
require a bit of time,
look
and
at
it's
this
also a way to
grift,
celebrate-
having the stones to just style all over his historical opponents with this new study, and then be like, by the way, buy my stuffed animal. Like, oh, you'll love to see it.
You, as we are getting close to 1 million subscribers. Well, to be pedantic, if we add the subscribers from the second channel, we're already at 1 million. Hello, number ones. This is a limited edition, will only be available for a set amount of time, and then we will not produce them again. So get yours today, and thank you very much for your support. Does this mean that this man is white? No, but I never said that the ancient Egyptians of the freaking old kingdom, I'm gonna say this in full camera, because that's the thing, it's not like they steel man my argument, no, they straw man it. Did I ever say that the ancient Egyptians of the old kingdom were white? No.
Okay, so now the retconning of history makes more sense. The reason that they wanted so hard for ancient Egyptians to come from southern Africa or western Africa, it was for identitarian purposes. It was so they could say that it was like this great black culture. Whoever said earlier in chat, we was kings. Okay. I don't know why I didn't assume that would have been the reason to begin with. Again, maybe for whatever reason, I'm still naive and holding on to the idea that history matters and that it's not, being taken advantage of by race scripters and race baiters and whatnot. That makes a whole lot of sense. So people don't like the idea of Egyptians coming from either Eastern Africa or Western Asia because it means they're not black. Why didn't I see it sooner?
That would be stupid. I never said it. Were there white Egyptians? Yes. Now given, make period. Because they relocated people from Greece, all that area. And then, of course, as the Roman invade, then a higher percentage, they also create some settlements, apart from the ruling elite, but they created some settlements with Greeks relocated, and then the Romans relocate there. So yes, there is a certain...
See, Ginty Max says she blames the education system, and to be fair, that's a good thing to blame. I would as well. But again, as someone who has not been in school for a very long time, I was not taught this in school. Like, I wasn't taught that Egypt was some, great African society, like African as in like black society. That was never. It was alluded to when I was in school that everyone more or less, not everyone, but more or less everyone originated in the Mesopotamia area and spread out from there. So it makes sense that the oldest of the Egyptians were from there as well. Also, great frame to pause on. But yeah, so I'm truly curious when this change to the education system did happen, because it was after I was out of school. So it's got to be fairly recent in the grand scheme of things. I mean, I'm not super old. I'm just in my 30s. So this had to have been sometime in the last 13, 14 years. I'm not sure.
certain amount of Egyptians, the people that could have been born in Egypt, but they were originally from, I don't know, Italia. We do have some surnames in Northern Africa that are Celtic in origin. So yes, some Egyptians could have been white at that time, but that would have been a minority in the population. The further back you go, the further likely it is that the population will be white, or European, if you don't want to use the word white. Some may have been, because you could have had Carthaginians relocating there, and now we know the Carthaginians are of European origins from a DNA perspective. But when it comes to the bulk of the population,
Yes, cue the Bill and Ted music.
they were brown. And then some of them would have been black, and those percentage vary geographically and according to the time. This is what I said. I was right. Every single thing that I said now demonstrated by DNA analysis. And this is not a little small research. No. This was praised by professors at Harvard. This is peer-reviewed stuff. And it says every single thing that I've been saying. And
I mean, peer review by people at Harvard doesn't mean a whole lot to me, considering, like we've been talking about, the education system, modern schooling, the propaganda machines that are the modern day institutions. But yeah, I do get what he's saying. This isn't just some rando online.
Receiving backlash and hatred for
we all
years.
love Socrates.
All correct. Boom. This is what the genome says. Once again, the guy had brown skin. Yes, that doesn't make him an African though, because he's connected to the Levant. So unless you think that the Middle Eastern people that are more on the dark olive complexion, unless you think that those are black Africans, then the guy was not from Africa. Well, he was, because he was born in Northern Africa. I mean, just the other day, I read someone in the comments that told me, someone was telling me, hey, I'm black, but when I was a child, my teacher, I told her that Egypt is in Africa, and she told me, no, it's in the Middle East. Well, your teacher is an idiot. Egypt...
Wait. Are there teachers? Are there people, not even teachers, it's even more concerning when it's teachers, but are there people that don't consider Egypt part of Africa? Like first of all, the Middle East isn't a continent. The Middle East is a region. So you could say it's both, that it's Middle Eastern and African, because it exists sort of in that Middle East region. But as far as the continent's concerned, Egypt is in Africa. I've never met somebody, at least, I mean, to be fair, I don't go around asking people, hey, is Egypt in Africa? But if I did, I would hope most people I talk to would agree that Egypt is in fucking Africa, because it is. The fact that there are teachers, again, based on what this video is saying at least, that don't consider Egypt part of Africa is, like concerning. Concerning. Yes, Egypt connects Africa to the Middle East. Exactly, Alyssa Clown Conte. Yeah, that is legit concerning.
It is in Africa. Of course it's in Africa. But, so the guy was African in the sense that he was born in the African continent, but he was not African in the sense that he was a black African. Not this guy. This is not what the DNA says. And so that's a fact now. Like, unless you're telling me that this is some kind of, well, I don't even care what they're going to use to try and justify this. How about we continue reading? I'm having a great time. I don't know about you. But this is
I am.
great,
Thank you for asking.
This is great. Yeah, so we were saying remains Egyptian, they harbor signs of ancestry similar to that of Northern Africans, as well as people from the Middle East, researchers report today in Nature. We read, it's incredibly exciting and important, says David Reich, a population geneticist at Harvard.
Medron said Reich. Medron said Reich. Cancel him. Nazi. Right-wing fascist. He said Reich. Cancel him.
Medical School in Boston, who was not involved in the study. We, open quotes, we
exactly, Dempsey, exactly.
Get our first ancient DNA from mummies, close quotes. Numerous labs have tried to extract DNA from ancient Egyptians' remains. In 1985, evolutionary geneticists, can't read that, reported the first ancient DNA sequences from any human, several thousand DNA letters from the 2,400-year-old Egyptian mummy. But this is a lot older, so it's even more significant, because what this tells us is that there were population movement patterns already 5,000 years ago from the Levant, which checks out, absolutely checks out. Now, does this tell us about the friggin' Paleolithic inhabitants of this area? No, it doesn't, but it does tell us about ancient Egypt. And at the end of the day, what population lived in North Africa in, at this point, 50,000 years ago.
Why haven't we revived the dinosaurs if we can do dude, I'm waiting for it. I am. People will be like, oh no, haven't you seen Jurassic Park? We've got 7 movies explain why you shouldn't do this. Yeah, well, we've only got one good one, and to be fair, it's still just a movie. Like, I'm all in. Bring back the dinos, bring back the saber-toothed cats, bring back the 3-foot-long dragonflies. I want to see that shit. We're already doing it with these partial dire wolves. All right, let's move to the next step. Give me the angry giant reptilian hondos.
Doesn't matter when you're talking about ancient Egypt, because there was no pharaonic ancient Egypt 50,000 years ago. So if that's the discussion we are having,
there's probably part of it there too,
different.
Dempsey. That's
we
yeah.
can talk about that. But because these people, usually my opponents, talk about ancient Egypt, and this is ancient Egypt. This is the very beginnings, the dawn of ancient Egypt. And will you look at that? What were the chances that the one guy that we managed to do a genomic sequence, Levantine origin? Once again, I'll state it. The guy was not white. As far as I'm concerned, he can have dark brown skin. He can have black skin. It doesn't matter. He's not from Africa originally. He's from the Middle East. I mean, there are...
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that it matters whether the dude was white, black, brown, yellow, whatever. Like, it's just cool to see the migration of humans, where people came from, knowing our history as a species. Again, I can't even imagine being one of the folks that are so fixated on race that they would be upsetting spaghetti that it turns out ancient Egyptians from 4,500 years ago to 5,000 years ago weren't black. Like, why the fuck does that matter? Isn't it just cool to know where we came from, how far we've come, things to that effect?
Some Indians that are as dark as some black Africans. This is also to tell you how stupid it is to fixate on the words white and black when we talk about these things. But because they are the ones who fixate over
Bingo,
it,
bango, bongo. What I just say?
terms,
Beat to the punch,
they are
Metatron.
the ones that say that the word Kemet, or Kumat, as it probably was vocalized, regardless, the word Kemet with a vowel of convention through Coptic, they are the ones that say Kemet means the land of the black meaning the people. But that's a modern way of using black that people didn't use back in the day. Even the Romans, it's not like they called black people black, they called them Ethiopians, meaning generally everyone of a phenotypic trait that would probably go from dark brown to jet black. But the Romans didn't call them black because that's a modern usage. But they do that. It's obviously the black soil opposed to the red soil of the desert. But no, they will say, no, it's the land of the blacks. It's not. It's stupid. You're reading it in a modern sense, and it's linguistic dishonesty. Because then when it's for them, then they'll tell you, well, white doesn't make sense because people didn't use it back then. But then why are you using black in the modern sense then? It's always a matter of intellectual dishonesty. But intellectually dishonesty can only take you so far until genetic data is presented and it tells us, Levantine, what you gonna say now? Good. All right. Let's have a look at the study proper.
Dempsey says that the idea of race wasn't a thing until the 16th century. I didn't know it was that recent, if I'm going to be honest. Like, I can't exactly sit here and pretend to have any sort of knowledge on this or have even really thought about when the concept of race really became a thing. I didn't realize it would have been as recent as the 16th century if I was going to take you at your word.
I've already read the whole thing, by the way, but I would like to share it with you guys. You know, if you could clone an ancient Egyptian, because here is another thing. Chances are you could get a black guy, because as I say, particularly if he's from Upper Egypt, you could get a black person who is Egyptian because originally from Kush, but then they moved in there.
Yo! St. Hugo, a member for 5 months. Everything started when Cthulhu asked the flying spaghetti monster, hey, do you know the one with When Life Came to Earth? Shout out to my Pastafarian brothers. As opposed to these Egyptians that were not Rastafarian brothers. So yeah, thank you so much, Hugo. Appreciate you, brother.
And their children were brought up in Egypt, so now they're Egyptians.
Oh, interesting. Because let's see. Can I wait. I meant to open this in another tab. No, hold on a sec. I'm gonna check out that link, Dempsey. But oh no, did I? Wait, is it? Oh, no, perfect. It's right here. Okay, yeah. All right, we'll go to site. All right, the history and the idea of race. This is going to be interesting, guys. This is going to be interesting. Race is a categorization term referring to human beings. It was first used in the English language in the late 16th century. Until the 18th century, it had been generalized meaning similar to that classifying terms such as type, sort, or kind. Occasional literature of Shakespeare's time referred to a race of saints or a race of bishops. By the 18th century, race was widely used for sorting and ranking peoples in the English colony. Okay. All right, I see where this is going. Europeans who saw themselves as free people, indigenous Americans who had conquered, and Africans who were being brought in as enslaved labor. This, as the usage continues today. The people conquered and enslaved were physically different from Western Northern Europeans, but such differences were not sole cause for the construction of racial categories. The English had a long history of separating themselves from others, treating foreigners, such as Irish, as alien others. By the 17th century, their policies and practices in Ireland had led to an image of Irish as savages who are incapable of being civilized. So, I don't think we even need to go any further. That answers it, like, within the first couple of paragraphs. Yo, Base. Thank you, Dempsey. Appreciate that, brother.
I don't have a problem with that. But if you go statistically, you know what I think? I think that the chances are he will look a lot like a modern Egyptian. And I've heard channels, I don't want to name the channels, but I've heard channels say, oh, when modern Egyptians dress up like ancient Egyptians, they are cosplaying. Well, that's disrespectful. Because I do believe there is a certain level of genetic continuity as it's demonstrated here. And so it's very likely that even though some modern Egyptians might have ties to Arabs, others absolutely, particularly through the Coptic element, have ties to ancient Egypt. It's their land. So no, when they dress up as ancient Egyptians, they're dressing up as their ancestors. Once again, if you're a black African...
From the river to the sea, god damn it, Eve, why'd you eat the fruit from that tree?
And then you too have an ancestor who was black and from Egypt. They did exist. That's fine. It's only when they're like 100% black nation, then you're wrong. And DNA just proved you wrong. Well, that area, again, unless you go into the African humid period, that area is not going to be, because, and that's something that some people that usually argue on my side get wrong, and I do have to say that, is that there was a climate period in Africa. And as I say, it's usually around 14,000 years ago, where the Sahara was green, full of jungles and forests.
Well, again, that's something that's debated about on either side. I keep going back to when did this sort of shit change? Because once again, that was something we were taught in school. Yeah, obviously the Saharan desert was not always a desert. At one point, at least I thought it was common knowledge. At one point, it was lush green forests and whatnot. When did this revisionist history start? And I'm so glad I got out of school by the time I did. Now, granted, I'm a high school dropout, but in general, the period of time I was in, because whatever's going on now is concerning.
And rivers, can you imagine that? And the reason is, it has to do with the Earth's axial tilt. So you'll have to, maybe I'll have to invite a cosmologist to really look into the details, but generically, it's because something happened with the axis of the Earth, some changes, and these changes completely affected the climate in that area. And if you look some of these...
I assume he's talking about the magnetic pole shift, which, the poles slowly shift, the magnetism, if I recall, like, does slowly shift over the course of hundreds of thousands of years, but every now and again you get like a rapid shift that is an extinction level event, and there's usually not many survivors afterwards. I think the last one there was probably, they hypothesized probably around 3,000 or so human survivors, but you'll give or take in that area. So maybe that's what he's referring to by some sort of cataclysm, but I'm not actually sure.
Look at some of the recreations, so how the Sahara region looked in this.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Dempsey. Yeah, exactly.
Specific period. It's mind-blowing to imagine that.
Well, no, it's both, Jamma. So it's slowly happening over hundreds of thousands of years is normal, and it's when it changes rapidly that is the problem. But both do happen. Every 6,000 years, 12,000 years. Yeah, no, and that's what I'm referring to. When it happens in an instant like that, it is a cataclysmic event. But you can see slow shifts over the course of thousands and thousands of years, and that's not a problem whatsoever.
Full of grass and trees and lakes, it would have been incredible. So yeah, when some people say Sahara was a barrier, I'm like, yeah, when? You need to ask when, because otherwise you may be creating a straw man that lacks academic validity when you say that. I've seen some 3D
5,500 rule, there you go.
Outstanding. And the same thing happened with Carthaginian. If you remember, I made my debunking video of that channel that was talking about Carthage, saying that the original inhabitants came from the Horn of Africa. They do full genomic testing. They are all from the Aegean, Anatolian Peninsula. GG, what can I tell you? Checkmate. the hate I'm gonna get for this, guys, but who cares? I'm here for you because unfortunately, this is an incredible news. Will there be other history channel that are gonna history focused channels that are gonna show this? I don't know. I think they're too afraid to be called racists. But you know me, I'm doing it for you guys.
Why would you be? And this is a rhetorical question because I do know why. But why would you be called racist for being like, yo, did you see this study that shows that ancient Egyptian DNA actually shares a lot in common with the Mesopotamians? Isn't that cool? Like, what is the state of academia that there's legitimate historians that would be afraid to cover this topic because they'd be afraid of being called racist? Again, it's a rhetorical question. I know the answer, but goddamn.
Fertile Crescent, thank you. Cultural exchange continued to develop through the last 4th millennium with the growing Sumerian civilization of Mesopotamia. This period overlaps with the
What up,
influence
Netflix
of
Foreign? How
additional
you doing?
innovations in Egypt. That's something that I've already covered on my videos, by the way, such as the pottery wheel and the earliest evidence of hieroglyphic writing in the form of ivory tags in Tomb UJ at Abydos, which is a big one. Abydos? I'll go for Abydos. Dated to 3. Yeah, of course, we already talked about this tomb at length. Our knowledge of ancient Egyptians has increased through decades of bioarchaeological analysis, including dental morphological studies of their relatedness to other populations in North Africa and West Asia. This is how it is. In fact, with other teeth, this was already a thing, but now full genomic sequencing? Is it really that strange to think that people in Egypt would be from North Africa and this place? Considering how good these guys moved through the sea. I mean, is it really that surprising? Or is it obvious? But we needed this, I guess. And it's not going to be enough, but hey, I'll take it. However, the lack of ancient genomes, particularly for the early periods of Egyptian dynastic history, yes, remain a barrier to our understanding of population continuity and gene flow in the region, absolutely. This is why, up to now, this is the first time that I focus on the really early dynastic history. Oftentimes, I talked about late Egypt, I talked about Middle Kingdom, but usually I've always been a little speculative when it comes to the early dynastic period because more difficult. The further back in time you go, the harder it's going to be definitive about things, which is also another massive red flag with a certain community because they are definitive about things that happened 5,000 years ago, allegedly. Instead, I'm like, guys, I think geographically, culturally, and looking at pattern trends of this period, it does make sense that Egypt would have been multicultural with intermixture of native North African populations, some black people, since the Sahara was not a barrier, and people from the Near East, ancient Egyptian multi-ethnic beginnings of this civilization, because it's a civilization in...
Two banger from Piranha Pout, just because I'm loving lunch with Professor Lee. I'm the student here today. I'm absolutely the student, but again, I feel like I'm more just having what I already, if not knew, assumed, confirmed by Professor Metatron here. But thank you so much. Truly appreciate it, Piranha Pout.
Women.
This specific area of the Mediterranean basin, it just makes logical sense. I can't prove it because we don't have a full genome, but now we do, and will you look at that? Now I'm going to speak about it because I speak after I see the evidence. Although individuals from ancient Egypt were subjected to the first effort to isolate ancient DNA, direct genome sequencing has remained elusive. All right, so we understand the difficulties. I think we can skip this part.
Now I want to see more studies done from other ancient cultures around the same time because, I mean, now it's going to be probably very difficult to do because exactly about for the reason he said. Preservation was not the same as it is now. But there are mummies from other, I would assume there's mummies or remains or some sort of preserved body parts or whatnot of other, ancient kingdoms, whether it be ancient China, whether it be, probably not like Göbekli Tepe or however you say that, it's very complicated word. That goes way further back, but like that predates, what's it called? Why am I blanking on like the first well-known civilization's name? Babylon. It'll come back to me. The point is, there are so many other ancient, ancient kingdoms and ancient civilizations. I would love to see more testing done on these to see like where because there was one study that was done not too long ago that stated that we were actually wrong about the Fertile Crescent being the birthplace of humanity, and that actually was likely somewhere in more eastern or northern Asia. I want to know if that's true. Man, You can take this so much further. This is awesome.
And here is the individual. And there is a section
What up, Rachel?
here, by the way, which I will read. I know they
Sumeria.
try
Thank
to
you,
use
Dempsey.
it
Sumeria. I don't know why I
will
blanked
read
on the name
There is a
Sumeria.
section where they know for a fact this guy is from Mesopotamia ancestrally. But they say when it comes
still
to
early. I've only been
trying
awake
and
about an hour.
identify his phenotypic traits, that's the hardest thing, one of the hardest thing to do, because it's not easy to identify that through this kind of technology. But they did say it's likely that he had brown skin, dark brown skin, or possibly black skin. And it's fine, because I never said that they were white. So it doesn't debunk me in any way, shape, or form. And mind you, once again, when we say black skin, it doesn't automatically translate to a person from Congo or a person from the Horn of Africa. In fact, that ancestry is not present. Simply because someone has dark skin, I mean, just to show the obvious, this lady's from Asia.
I mean, shit, compared to me, Metatron's dark skin. It ain't just this fucking ring light making the boy look all sour creamy. Like,
Right? This is an Indian. So, like, black skin doesn't automatically mean it's stupid to focus on this word, right? Because but today when we say someone is black, it means I know today, but we're talking about freaking. But anyways, I have to show the obvious that dark skin does not automatically mean someone from Sudan or a Kushite and all that kind of stuff. You would say this is obvious. Some Asians do have dark skin. But regardless, this is the only part of this genomic sequencing that I don't know for sure because it's difficult to recognize. I think the guy had brown skin. Why do I choose that one? Because it's the one that we see the most in the pictorial evidence. Very simple. Who is scared? Poker Cave. Scared about what? What do you think I'm scared? Well, how am I scared? I'm literally here in front. I am in front of a camera. Most of my opponents never even show their freaking face. I'm here like this, in front of the camera. How am I scared?
good to know that I'm not the only asshole that absolutely argues and rages against his own chat at times. That's making me feel represented, Metatron.
You should be scared.
Yeah, of course, Grandma might not appreciate this. See, that's the only thing.
Yo, look at that, Rachel. Look at that. He's reading your chat from the future.
Emblazen is absolutely right. I think this is going to upset Grandma. Let's just hope...
What are the
that
odds
we're
we see
hot
Dempsey in this chat?
about debunking everything once and for all. That's what I'm going to call it. They hate it when I do that, by the way, on my videos. Once and for all. This one is going to, once I edit this, it's going to have that title. Let's go. The radiocarbon dating of the skeletal remains show that the Nuwariat individual died between this age here. Okay. So the result supports the initial archaeologist assessment.
You're
of
right. It's
material
never
culture
zero.
And funerary practices at the site were consistent with those of the 3rd and 4th dynasties of the Old Kingdom. So we are really back in time here. So whoever wants to refute this, you can't use but this is the Ptolemaic period anymore. You can't use that one. You have to come up with something else. The body was placed in a large pottery vessel inside a rock-cut tomb. Fascinating. This treatment would have ordinarily been reserved for individuals of a higher social rank, class, relative to others at the site. Fantastic. As observed everywhere else during the early dynastic period and at the Old Kingdom royal cemeteries near the city of Memphis. Fantastic. All right, so...
I'm pretty sure walking to Memphis has an entirely different connotation in ancient history here.
Although, this is the part, acknowledging known limitations in predicting phenotypic traits in understudied populations, the Nuwariat individual is predicted to have had brown eyes, brown hair, and a skin pigmentation ranging from dark to black skin with a lower probability of intermediate skin color. So, this part about the phenotypic traits is all about
What up, Shield Wall?
probabilities. We don't know. But it doesn't matter because any skin he would have had, maybe he had olive skin, maybe he had that type of olive skin that would encompass brown skin as well, probably what I would say, or maybe he had black skin. It doesn't really matter because when you look at the rest of the study, he's genetically tied to the people of ancient Anatolia and Mesopotamia and the Levant.
And that is the only part that I care about or find interesting. Not what was the dude's skin color, but where did he originate from? What region? What part of the world? And like, You could still say, dude, let's say he was black. Let's say, since they got highlighted here, let's say, yeah, maybe, yeah. All right, so he had black skin. They still say he came from Mesopotamia. That's far more important than being like, oh, we was Kangs.
Yeah. Guy has Asian connotations. The individual was genetically male, consistent with the expressions of standard skeletal features. Further osteological examination revealed
What
that
up,
he
LMA?
stood 157 to 160 centimeters tall, so it's kind of short. He lived to an advanced age for the time, approximately 44 to 64 years. Once again, there is a space because it's not easy to work with this level of details. The upper end of this range is the most probable. So he was kind of old.
Bro, imagine living 44 to 64 years without air conditioning. Like, that's... Imagine being British is basically what I'm saying.
As evidenced by his heavily worn teeth and age-related osteoarthritis in most joints and vertebrae, in some cases severe. This so basically tells you that he was doing manual
What up,
labor,
UAF Omega?
an artisan of a craftsman of sort. Because if you have manual labor in conjunction with an upper echelon, then it's usually craftsmen or someone that has money but produces goods that are very expensive. This is huge, so he makes good money, right? Because if it's physical labor but it's a farmer, then he wouldn't be buried as someone who was upper class. So it's one of those things. Ramses made it to 93. I know, but Ramses probably had access to the best medicine and food of the period. This and various activity-induced musculoskeletal indicators of stress revealed that he experienced an extended period of physical labor, seemingly in contrast to his high-status tomb burial. The pattern of osteoarthritis and stress indicators further imply the form of physical activity that he routinely engaged in, which some researchers maintain can provide clues concerning occupation. In this case, although circumstantial, they are not inconsistent with those of other
I was thinking the same thing,
as
Dempsey.
depicted in
Medicine.
ancient Egyptian imagery. Estimates of biological affinity based on dental morphological features and cranial measurements parallel the genomic results below. Okay.
Glad to hear
that's
you're feeling
what
better,
I was
LMA.
telling you. Most likely this guy was an artisan. Okay, so we used the QPADM framework to model the genetic ancestry components that best represent the new Wariata genome.
Notice the article keeps saying he. Trans don't exist in the afterlife. Well, not only, I think the reason that the article keeps saying he is because we already know his job was as a pottery maker, and we know that women don't work with their hands. Like, you know, if they did carbon date a woman from this time, she probably would have been like an ancient Egyptian HR woman.
Using a fully rotating model competition approach in which a set of candidate populations there are candidate populations iteratively used as sources to conduct one source, 2 source and 3 source population ancestry models, whereas the remaining
Africaran
candidates
is
are set as
wild,
outgroups,
Dempsey.
right, populations. We used a set of 13 population from Neolithic and Chalcolithic West Asia, North Africa and North Mediterranean region that predate
The acronym was
individuals as
AEHR.
potential sources. Not even one did they feel they needed to use from the Horn of Africa or Sudan. Mediterranean region, North Africa,
Okay, ancient Egyptian HR. I was thinking Afro-European HR for whatever reason, but okay, ancient Egyptian works better.
Neolithic West Asia and Neolithic West Asia. No single source model fitted the data, and then it says model with Morocco. Instead, a single 2-source model, so it was mixed. It was a mixed individual, makes sense, met the significant criteria, which consisted of a mixture of 77.6 plus whatever. Ancestry represented by genomes from the Middle Neolithic Moroccan site. Okay, so he had some genetic ancestry from modern-day Morocco. And then this is the big one. And the remainder most closely related to genomes from 9000 to 8000 BC Neolithic Mesopotamia. A round of applause, guys. Round of applause. Right. In addition, 2-3 source models showed similar ancestry proportions.
Bro, it wouldn't surprise me at all the dude that invented AC had a harem over 100 bitches. Like, if you were the dude that brought cold air to the masses and you're like, nah, I'm only giving it to the hottest of sluts. Like, that would be, dude, no, that'd be one hell of a racket. I'd be impressed.
But with a minor contribution of a third ancestry component. He has a third ancestry component represented by genomes from the Neolithic, Chalcolithic, Levant. So this guy, 2 out of 3 components are from the Middle East. Ancient Egyptian. Old Kingdom. Oh, what a day.
Yeah, my thoughts exactly, Dempsey. Considering how lush the floodplains of the Nile were compared to the surrounding areas, there are probably a vast array of ethnicities present. That water, salt, food, that was all the goods. And not only that, but again, we're talking about a trading mecca as well, because human trade and whatnot, it's not a recent thing. Like trade caravans, people coming and trading with other cultures, that goes back way further than most people want to acknowledge or talk about, because again, it twists their narrative of history, that we were just all savages and all isolated in our own little pockets, because people love their isolationism narratives, but yeah, it's not true.
What?
Yes, this is what you put in LMA.
Here, X represents the rotating sources of the QPADM model with the addition of Levantine Paleolithic, Anatolian Paleolithic, and the Bronze Age Levantine genomes. It's a slam dunk. Yeah, and here, look.
What up, Mars
although
Monkey Max?
The timing of the admixture event cannot be estimated directly, supplementary table 11 and supplementary note 4, this finding provides direct evidence of genetic ancestry related to the Eastern Fertile Crescent in ancient Egypt. Archaeological evidence lends support to the early Neolithic shared regional ancestry between Egypt and West Asia, because once again there is no wall here and there is a massive sea that can be navigated.
Yeah, but maybe there should be a wall. Just with everything that's going on in the world right now, maybe there should be a wall.
So no shit, Sherlock, given its proximity. See, I am saying the same thing that these guys are saying. So if you think that I don't know what I'm talking about, or my team, including the Egyptologist, as I've been accused by, know thyself, then are you going to say this about all of them? Are you the only repertoire?
Bingo, bango,
of
bongo,
truth?
Netflix.
How does that work? Are we all wrong? Seriously. Because we're saying the same exact things. It's just that I said it before the data, and they're saying it after the data. Still, it's here. I mean, some professors have been saying this before, but yeah. Egypt was one of the first external areas to adopt a Neolithic package that emerged across West Asia as early as the 6th millennium BC or before, which could have corresponded with movements of people. Absolutely corresponded with movements of people, because these people moved. These people loved moving. What can I tell you? If you have a problem with that, take it with the Phoenicians. Take it with the Mesopotamians. If you have a problem with that, just tell
Let's not muddy the waters, Rabnad.
them. You know, you can find, I guess, somewhere where you can insult Mesopotamian. This period is concomitant with the observed gene flow from Mesopotamia to Anatolia, because, of course, this one happened too, and we know this is fully mapped already, which may have expanded into Egypt as well. I would say absolutely. I understand why they say may, because they're professionals.
Damn, cryptic. That's that's wild.
Support a substantial change in odontometric and dental tissue proportions occurred approximately 6000 BC in the Nile Valley. Of course, because they settled into.
Yeah, I've heard that before,
Neolithic
Netflix. I don't know much
farming
about it, but I have
societies
heard that.
with general continuity thereafter. So also, you see, the general continuity is another thing that I often say, which is indicative to the fact that modern Egyptians are absolutely related to ancient Egyptians. Of course, it will vary. Obviously, there have been population reallocations even after that in the Middle Ages, Arab conquests and all that, absolutely. But the idea that the Islamic expansion would be enough to completely replace an entire people is ludicrous. It is ludicrous, because that would have needed.
But they still keep trying, damn it, bless their hearts.
That not even the freaking Nazis, without modern weaponry, it just.
I really hope you're joking, Mars Monkey Max, because we've just spent the last hour debunking that. Like just so you know, we've spent the last hour debunking that. So I really hope you're joking.
Doesn't happen. People have moved around, but completely annihilate an entire ethnicity from a land that vast in a region so well connected is ridiculous to think. But why would they do it? When you conquer a land, you don't exterminate them, you tax them.
Damn, Rabnad, y'all just going hard in the chat.
Non-sponsored, ladies and gentlemen, non-sponsored. You know what's funny? I'm celebrating, Nicholas, if you knew. Ancient Egyptian Fanta. So here's the thing, guys. Let me say this. because now I'm being silly about it. But the only reason why I'm celebrating, because you'd be like, but why are you celebrating? Do you not like black people? Of course I do. Of course I do. It's just that I hate those people that have been calling me names for years. So this celebration is against
Roman 5,
them,
we was clowns and shit.
because they kept telling me things for years. So this is fantastic. This is exactly, Rebecca. This is the only reason why I'm saying this. And I'm still the guy who says still some ancient Egyptians would have been black. I'm not trying to take anything away. In fact, if anything, I'm saying focus on those.
You know what, Mars? I'm not even going to bother arguing with you. Just when the stream is over, go back and watch the beginning. That's not even the discussion that's being had.
Beautiful kingdoms that were fully black, and stop these attacks ad hominem, because otherwise genetic sequencing now, the genetic sequencing proves me right. Now I'm gonna celebrate me and every single one of you, regardless of your skin tone. You can be black, white, orange, for all I care, green. We can
Nah, not green. We don't like the green. The only greens we like is green in chat when y'all become members.
all celebrate together. It's not black versus white. It's truth versus lies. So let's celebrate. Celebrate. Finally, celebrate against ignorance, arrogance, and ad hominem attacks. This
No, it's not ignorance and arrogance. It's fear and propaganda and revisionism history for propagandistic and control purposes. That's what it is.
is what I'm celebrating. Guys, here we are. And then continuing, nevertheless, we found that the Nuwariat genome fits as an equally good source as Levant Chalcolithic groups for the West Eurasian.
Yeah, I
related
know that Roman
component
is
of East
joking,
African
yes.
pastoralist genomes, of course, because there is once again.
Oh, you were talking to
population
Mars,
relocation
okay.
From West Asia, absolutely. Here we are, guys. Still missing from many putative source regions. I don't know what to tell you guys. It's a massive GG. If you like this, give you conclusions. We know the conclusion is going to repeat the same thing. Fertile Crescent everywhere. Fertile Crescent, Fertile Crescent, Fertile Crescent. The one ancient Egyptians we find, Fertile Crescent, guys. So, what can I say? If you enjoy real data analysis and unbiased truth, please subscribe. This is the channel. You chose right. This is a celebration of you. You chose right, my friends. We were right.
There we go. There we go. Based video recommendation from Luminous Anonymous. That was fantastic. You love to see it. Yeah, no, that was awesome. I don't even really have too much commentary to add aside from, again, I thought this shit was obvious. I'm very much in the Metatron train of, I thought this shit was obvious, and even when I was in school, it was being touted as if it was obvious that, yes, the earliest of Egyptians traced their ancestry back to the Fertile Crescent, back to Mesopotamia, but apparently sometime in between me leaving middle school and me now being the single greatest live streamer you guys have ever seen, somewhere in that about 20-year period, shit changed and I wasn't told about it. So yeah, that was awesome. Again, great video recommendation. Truly appreciate it. If you've not seen Metatron's channel, check it out. I've become fascinated with it anytime one of his videos gets slapped in my reaction request stage, because it's those sort of evergreen videos that they never get old. Like, no matter what, it's always gonna be relevant or interesting. So yeah, base Metatron video. All right, let's check out something a little bit more mainstream and a whole lot more modern, and that's the modern. That's gonna be anime. It's in the title. It's in the description. Yes, and obviously it's on the thumbnail. The Big Three. I've now read through this article, and I'm curious because I'm very defensive of this concept of the Big Three. I get annoyed all the time about how wrong people are about the Big Three. And this article is titled 10 Things Everyone Gets Wrong About the Big Three Anime. And I want to see how accurate or how wrong this article is. It's CBR. Normally, they're fucking morons. But maybe, just maybe, there'll be something of note here. Something that's interesting. I still haven't watched One Piece, but I've extensively watched the other two. You know what? 2 out of 3 ain't bad, even though One Piece is the best. All right, let's just start. Dragon Ball Z isn't part of the big three. Yeah, that's correct. That's exactly. Dragon Ball is the godfather of the big three. So you know what? Leon's Blatt 2. Oh, below the waist, absolutely. All right, so filler content isn't a deal breaker of the big three. I agree with this. All right, I agree with this. Filler is not inherently bad. In fact, now while Dragon Ball is not one of the big three, Dragon Ball Z has dope ass filler. Like Goku and Piccolo getting their license is good filler. Extended fights is good filler. I enjoy anytime they extend a fight. Now there's bad filler as well, Garlic Jr. and whatnot. But yeah, Naruto has bad filler. It's also got good filler. There's some filler in Naruto I absolutely enjoy and think is fun. One Piece, 100%. I don't really know if Bleach has quote unquote, good filler. I'm not. While I love the recent 1,000-Year Blood War anime, I'm not a huge fan of the original Bleach anime. So I don't know. I didn't read much of the manga. It's just not one that I spent a lot of time with when reading Shonen Jump. So I don't know what is and isn't filler to know whether it is or isn't good. But yes, I do agree that filler content is not inherently bad or is not a deal breaker. Let's see what else. The big three have not aged too badly. Wait, are you saying they have aged too badly because it's a double negative, or are you saying it's not true that they've aged badly? I'm going to need to read this one. Anime tend to feel aged over time due to outdated animation techniques, not to mention, by the way, they're already wrong here. And I'm not even going to chastise them for it because I was wrong about this. Somebody posted in a different stream we did like a couple of weeks ago how the animation techniques really haven't actually changed all that much. The processing after the animation absolutely has, but animation techniques itself have not. So I'm not going to chastise them too much for this one because until recently, I made the same mistake. What up, cookies? But yeah, due to outdated animation techniques, not to mention outdated taste of style for the content itself. These things can change in Japan, the West, anywhere else as natural and gradual shift in societal norms and preferences. Oh, fuck out of here with that gay shit, which often impacts anime. However, it's not necessarily that big of a deal for the shonen big three. Only in bits and pieces do the big three feel like a product of a different era, often in terms of gratuitous fuck out of here. Fuck out of here with your homo ass, like, oh, societal things have changed. Oh, fan service bad. Shut the fuck. We're moving on from number 8's gay. Number 8's gay as shit. Yes, the big three hold up fine. Again, I think that One Piece easily the best of the big three, and One Piece holds up like a dream. How do I know that? Because I was watching the original One Piece, didn't even start in America until 2003. I started doing a rewatch with Cookies, who's there in the chat, literally last year. We watched all of it. We're caught up. I mean, like One Piece holds up brilliantly. So yeah, fuck that gay, fan service is outdated mentality. I hate that homo shit. Big Three's lineup isn't up for debate. It is not. The Big Three's lineup is not up for debate. One of the bigger misconceptions is the exact lineup of the Big Three is up to interpretation or is a matter of personal preference. This is simply not the case because the lineup was decided years ago. It's not open to change. That lineup was also based on fairly objective measures such as sales, influence on later titles, and making anime more mainstream in the West. It is actually not based on sales or influence on later titles. That is a misconception. Again, there's a really good video that breaks down what the Big Three is. In fact, the Big Three is not really even a thing in Japan like it is in the West. The Big Three is a Western term. It is something we did because it speaks to exactly this one right here. Making anime more mainstream in the West. The Big Three is not about, it is an encapsulation of a period of time more than it is anything else. So, but again, yeah, I'll agree. It is not for debate. The Big Three doesn't have a modern equivalent. Agreed 100%. All right, this actually ain't a bad article so far, minus that gay-ass fan service being outdated shit that they were doing in point number 8. Anime fans often wonder what the new generation's own Big Three looks like, and a small handful of titles often come up in the discussion. Fans have named Demon Slayer, Jujutsu Kaisen, Attack on Titan, My Hero Academia as promising candidates, and it's easy to see the merit of those nominations. Any fans free create a headcanon Big Three amongst those titles, but probably won't become a mainstream fact. That's because the Big Three were clearly above all other shonen titles in their time, while the field is more competitive today than the 2020s. The Big Three were partly defined by making anime more mainstream, and that's not a feat any modern trio can replicate. I'm actually decently impressed with this article. So far, they've been pretty correct about a few things. They also spiked the profits for Shonen Jumps. Again, not necessarily. The profits for Shonen Jump didn't actually change all that much post Dragon Ball. Like individual manga sales, there's like One Piece and whatnot, were of course doing well, but no. So again, that's a common misconception. That again, there's a great video if I can find out a link in the chat. But yeah, no, the sales for Shonen Jump really didn't fluctuate that much, and not in Japan at least. Now maybe in America, maybe the Western sales of monthly Shonen Jump, sure, but weekly Shonen Jump, which is how it's tracked in Japan, did not change all that much. The big three aren't factually the best shonen anime ever. Well, yeah, I would absolutely agree with that. It can be a tad confusing to hear about how the big three are defined, while also bearing in mind they have plenty of competition. The big three emerged as the best-selling, most influential titles at the time. That's false. Again, in the West, maybe. But that's actually not true in Japan. In fact, Bleach, even though it's one of the big three, Bleach sold really poorly in Japan compared to the other two. One Piece is going, Bleach anime is still going, the new Hell Arc stuff may be coming soon. Dude, 1,000 Year Blood War, I know they're talking about, isn't Kubo, Tite Kubo writing new Bleach stuff like right now, so maybe that'll get animated, but man, I can't wait for Core 4. But anyway, in Japan, Bleach did not sell very well at all comparatively to the other two, to Naruto and One Piece. So yeah, no, again, this best-selling narrative, okay, that's the Hell Arc, gotcha, is again, maybe they're talking about in the West, maybe Bleach and Naruto and One Piece sold insanely well in the West, but I prefer to look at things from, you know, the Japanese perspective, how it was selling there. Let's see, but that does not make them factually the best. The shonen anime trio may be well defined, but it's also not quite so well defined, since no anime can factually be the best ever. I like the subtle nod that's thrown to our boy Edward Elric here. In the era of the big three a day, Naruto, One Piece, and Bleach have more than a few titles breathing down their necks. That humbles the big three somewhat. No anime can be factually the best, even if Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, Gintama, and Frieren Beyond Journey's End are jogging for the #1 slot on my anime list. And again, look, I love Frieren. I do. I love Frieren. It's nowhere near the best anime ever. Nowhere. Like, that's recency bias in the anime community is bananas, dude. Recency bias, it's probably the same in other communities and other fandoms and whatnot, but recency bias in the anime community is fucking wild. The big three didn't lack serious competition in their day. Yeah, they did not. Today's shiny, well-produced anime like Attack on Titan and Demon Slayer are serious competition for the increasingly aged big three. There's always been competition, which in fact some fans may not fully appreciate. The big three dominated the field in their area, but only barely. They were not untouchable, perfect titles. In fact, a few titles threatened to eclipse them in terms of popularity, and several of them did at certain points. In that era, both Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood and Hunter x Hunter were formidable competition for the big three, even if the former was published in a different magazine and the latter experienced many hiatuses. The big three may be well defined and command immense respect, but the gap between them and the competition is much smaller than today's anime fans might be led to believe. Again, agreed. That's why the big three is not actually about sales or popularity. It's not. The big three is only about, again, a certain period in time for anime and what it means to the West. It's wild how few people realize this. The big three didn't dominate the entire shonen anime sphere. I feel like this is just a continuation of 4, but okay. It's tempting to think that Shonen Manga and Weekly Shonen Jump magazine are synonymous, but this is far from the case. I get what they're saying with this now. Weekly Shonen Jump may be the biggest and most definitive shonen manga publication, but it has competition that Western fans might not be aware of, like Weekly Shonen Magazine, Weekly Shonen Sunday. Major competitors won't simply yield the entire Weekly Shonen Jump. Yeah, there's more than just Jump. Like Jump is the brand. That's why you've got games like Jump Force. Jump is the brand, and there are competing brands. Well, Netflix foreign. I actually did take about 2.5 years of Japanese lessons when I was in school, and it's something that's, if you don't use it, you lose it. I only remember like a few key phrases and whatnot. I wonder if I ever get back into it, if it'll be like riding a bike, be like, oh, it'll just come back to me. But yeah, I was never fluent in Japanese, but I was conversational enough to where I would have been able to like hold my own if I was, struggle bus, but still hold my own if I was dropped in Japan. But yeah, no, Gintama, it very much has a reputation I'm aware of being very Japanese. Hey, 38 likes, you'll love to see it. The Big Three's lineup wasn't Japan's idea. Correct! I literally said this earlier, literally just a few minutes ago. Bingo, bango, bongo. You know what? Maybe I was too hard on you, CBR. Or Broken Clocks and all. This is just one of your good articles. One of your only good little listicles. Many of the trends, ideas, practices behind manga come from Japan itself, since that's where manga like the big three come from. However, manga is now an international medium, and other nations or regions may have their own perceptions as secondary consumers. Such is the case for the big three. A trio is better defined outside Japan than in it. I literally said that. I said that exact thing earlier. Popularity and sales of various manga and anime series differ greatly from one nation or region to another, which might come as a surprise to newer fans. Something that's a huge hit in one nation may be more modestly popular in another. For example, as for the big three are popular both inside Japan and outside of it, but the trio is better defined by the West than by Japan itself. Those three titles are all big in Japan, but it's Westerns in particular who actually called in the big three, owing to those titles' work and making anime more mainstream in the West. The big three are not required reading or viewing. Disagree, sort of. I'll let them make their article, then I'll give my thoughts. Or their argument. Given their enormous popularity, influence, and sales, newer shonen anime fans might get the impression that they are supposed to read or watch titles to be a real shonen fan. There is no such rule, and while some fans may be disappointed if a newcomer declines to check out the big three, it shouldn't cause any real trouble among anime fans. Naruto, One Piece, and Bleach are regularly recommended for good reasons, but there is no obligation. At most, new anime fans are encouraged to at least know about the big three so they can be better informed with fan discourse and online and in person. Being able to name them, recognize them is a good idea, but as for reading or watching them, it's purely personal preference, like with any other anime franchise. Hard disagree. All right, I'm going to break this down. There's a problem here. And I was bitching about this shit on stream the other night with Dax and R when I was referring to like shonen tards and stuff. Look, if you are going to appreciate something, if you're going to be a fan of something, if you're going to come into an art form, a fandom, whatever it may be, you need to have respect and reverence for what got us here. Like, you can't pick up a guitar. Again, this is my opinion. I think that you are a morally wrong person if you pick up a guitar and you don't at least try to learn and understand and appreciate Robert Johnson, Bo Diddley, like some of the Jimi Hendrix. You don't gotta like their music. That's fine. But you need to understand and appreciate the reason we're at where we are now with people playing guitar and online internet musicians and things to that effect, that like you need to know your history, you need to know where that came from, and have reverence for what. Yes, I agree with EB. Notice I didn't mention Zeppelin. Hashtag no stairway. Fair. You're right. So yeah, I think anime is the exact same. If you're new to the anime scene and you've only seen Demon Slayer and Attack on Titan and My Hero Academia, it's fine. That's what you started with. But I do think you should watch at least one of the big three, preferably One Piece, but any of them will do. And even if you don't like them or whatnot, first of all, you don't know you don't like it. And if the only reason you don't like it is, oh, the animation isn't shiny and pretty, get the fuck out of here. You're not a real anime fan. I'll be real. Like if you can't watch anime older than XYZ year because you think it's ugly or whatnot, fuck out of here. You're not a real anime fan. You're not even a real animation fan, dude. Imagine like looking back at imagine not wanting to appreciate Rocky and Bullwinkle because it's old looking. Like, no. Rocky and Bullwinkle has a very important part of Western animation history. I love the classic animation style as well. So the point is, you should watch at least one of the big three, if not all three, and because you would not have your My Hero Academias and your Demon Slayers and shit like that without them. And not only that, I'm gonna be real, most of the older shit, it is just better because it does the tropes better before they were truly tropes. It does the cliches better because at that point they're not winking at the camera with them. I would recommend they watch. We're not showing specifically, but Akira. Yeah, Akira is required watch for any anime fan ever. Galaxy Express 999, which is, I don't know if that's required watching. It's good. I like it, but I don't think it's required watching. Cowboy Bebop is a requirement. Yu Yu Hakusho, absolute requirement. Ranma 1/2 is an interesting pick. I wonder if the old version. Make sure you watch the original, not that Netflix shit. But yeah, so that was a interesting article. Man, I am Good thing we wrap it up in about 40 minutes. I'm almost out of water here. My throat is going. Dude, I did not realize what streaming every day, because I already streamed every day in terms of being on other people's shows and whatnot. But doing everyday streaming on my own channel, plus making videos, plus being on everyone else's shows, I did not realize how much that shit was gonna make your throat go. Oh, goddamn. Yeah, I might end up needing to put the stream on pause and go grab more water, depending on how. Yeah, well, I wonder how people would react to the old version of Ramen One Half, but yeah, people need to watch. I like it. I do. I agree. All right. What's next? That was interesting. You know what? I think we will wrap up because it'll probably take the rest of the video with this this video I found that I wanted to react to. Normally you guys put stuff in the Discord, and there is one more video that is in the Discord for the reactions. I think we're gonna save that for the next time we do a lunch special stream, the NVIDIA RTX series video, because it's a like almost 40-minute long video. And I need to react, so I need to pause and whatnot. That would make this stream go incredibly long. And I've got other obligations and whatnot. It's a Saturday. So we're going to finish this off with a Lost Media video. I love Lost Media. I don't know about you guys. Dude, I am fascinated by Lost Media stuff. And have been for ages. Like Lost Media stuff dates back to like that early 2000s sort of mentality. You go online, and you know, this is before the internet was ubiquitous and before YouTube, and you're online on some forum in like 2003, and you hear of like a banned episode, and you're like, oh, whatever happened with that? Oh, so you do reactions on these streams now? Yeah, I put that in the Discord. I don't know if you're in the Discord or not, Rabnad. I believe you are. Sorry, there's like 200 of you guys in there, so sometimes I lose it. But yeah, no, I do reactions on every stream except Countercast and Tinfoil Haters. We will do reactions on every stream except Countercast, Tinfoil Haters. Neon Leon is subject to whether or not I have a guest or what's in the news. But for the lunch streams, we will always be doing reaction videos. And then sometimes on Neon Leon as well. So the only ones that I won't do reactions on, at least reactions submitted by you guys, are Countercast and Tinfoil Haters. All the rest, yes. But anyway, Lost Media is just, it's one of those things that it just hits right. Again, you're on an internet forum in 2003, then you hear of like a banned episode of a TV show, and you want to see it, and you want to know whatever happened to it, to this. So I love Lost Media shit, and I think a lot of you guys do as well. I was on YouTube the night before last, and this video popped up in my feed. I have not watched it. But it's the interesting Lost Media of Sonic the Hedgehog. And obviously, as, you know, the world's biggest normal Sonic fan, I'm curious if there's going to be anything in here that I don't know.
Hands on some Sonic Lost Media. Look at this! Okay guys, I got my hands on some Sonic Lost Media. Look at this! I even got a note with it, you know, it says not to play it, but you know me, I'm gonna play it, so let me turn this game on.
Alright, open up with the joke. Fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, less Tizamy. There you go.
Sonic the Hedgehog is no stranger to the world of Lost Media. There's a ton of Lost Media related to Sonic the Hedgehog, from video games to shows to comics and even movies. There's so much stuff that, you know, I'll admit we're not going to get through all of it in just one video. But I find Lost Media stuff to be interesting.
Ooh, Mushroom Hill Zone music in the back just hits right. Mushroom Hill Zone, baby. You love to see it. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles.
Doesn't love watching a good Lost Media video? You know the ones. Stuff about a day with SpongeBob or the Billy and Mandy pilot. So, I've decided
Whoa. Billy and Mandy pilot? What?
A day with SpongeBob or the Billy and Mandy pilot.
Is that really what Billy and Mandy's pilot, like they're, I assume not the pilot, but like, this is probably like the pitch, the one-off episode that's a pitch. I mean, 'cause all shows had those. Simpsons did, Family Guy did. I've seen the Family Guy one. It's actually really interesting. That's wild. All right, guys, I gotta go get more water. I apologize. I'll be back in just a moment. Sorry about that, guys. Again, as much as I've been streaming and doing videos and shit lately, absolutely just had to. EB says, Cookies, why are you not there to get our boys some water? To be fair, Cookies is very good about bringing me stuff while I'm on stream. I think he's out of the apartment right now. I think Cookies is out doing his own thing right now. But, like, literally the middle of, I think it was Badger stream last night. Homie comes in with a soda and a bunch of vodka shooters. Like, my man. Yeah, so Cookie's a G. All right, let's keep going with this.
So, I've decided to make this video and talk about 6 of the most interesting cases of Sonic the Hedgehog lost media, giving you guys the details explaining what happened to each media, why it was lost, was it ever found, or if it'll ever be found. And listen, I really wanted to make sure that these 6 are some of the most interesting cases, so not stuff—
you should check out the black and white animation school, Billy Mandy. Mandy basically drills a hole in Billy's head. Damn!
like the Sonic 1 Tokyo build or Sonic Extreme, because let's be for real, if you're a Sonic fan, you definitely know about stuff like that. I wanted to dig deeper into this rabbit hole and find a bit more obscure stuff. If this video does well, I might consider making this a mini series of sorts for the channel.
Again, this is more of a live test for me to see how well I know my Sonic shit.
Making other videos to discuss more lost media stuff about Sonic the Hedgehog, since like I said, there's a ton of them. I mean, look at this iceberg someone made on Reddit. Yacht! With that, I think it's time we discuss 6 of the most interesting pieces of lost media regarding Sonic the Hedgehog.
Only 6? Oh, this should be easy. Alright, lost Sonic movie trailer. This could mean a few things, but, so the Sonic movie was actually in development hell for like a solid, almost 20 years. Maybe they're considering the trailer for the Sonic 1 movie where he still had like these sort of legs and whatnot, lost media that had like the Gangsta's Paradise theme, because they maybe Paramount scrubbed that from the internet after the redesign. Let's find out. Or could this be a lost trailer for like an old animated film? I wonder, because there were OVAs.
The first Sonic movie was pretty good. I think most of us would agree on that. How else would we get these 2 other peak films and the Wade Whipple show? We all know of its troubled first trailer though, the one that was released in 2019, specifically the first movie design. I still gotta wonder what they were thinking.
There y'all got your nightmare fuel for the day. Let's go.
That's not the point. Ugly Sonic aside, the reason why I'm even speaking of the first movie in the first place is due to the fact that this movie has a lost teaser. You see, back in December of 2018 at the CinemaCon experience in Brazil, a teaser was shown to the audience watching the Paramount-related materials. And one of the trailers that Paramount showed to everyone was a teaser for the first Sonic movie. Now, you're probably thinking that this teaser that Paramount showed was probably the first trailer that we all saw, with the ugly Sonic, right? But it's not. Paramount showed an even earlier design for Sonic, and we know about this early design thanks to leaks. This supposed image comes from a Nick advertisement.
I do remember this. I have seen this, and honestly, well, what we ended up getting was of course better. By far, this is better than the what we know as ugly Sonic. Like this is like a weird in between phase, even though this is technically older than ugly Sonic. But yeah, this is better than what they ended up going with, and then both are inferior to what we actually truly finally got.
The surrounding characters around the Sonic image are Nick Jr. characters, and that was it. We don't know much else other than that in terms of this specific teaser. But we also have these images here. Now, these images seen here are supposedly from the Russian dub.
That is, man, them quills be looking rough, even for ugly Sonic.
Testing of the movie. You can see Russian in the image. The images here are from the 2017 test pilot for the movie. So this was something made even before the trailer shown in CinemaCon. What's interesting to point out is that this Sonic is clearly the same Sonic from the CinemaCon trailer. He has the big—
I do not think they're the same. I don't think they're the same at all. The ridges on their eyes are different and everything. I think this guy is flat out wrong.
bigger eyes, blue hands. It's not the same as ugly Sonic, who has smaller eyes and white hands. This Sonic in the 2017 test footage also has the exact same shoes as the Sonic seen in this leaked Chris Pratt poster. You know, this poster definitely implies that Chris Pratt was in mind when deciding.
Chris Pratt was in mind. Chris Pratt, among several other actors, were shortlisted before Matthew Marsden got the role. Chris Pratt was in mind. Oh, who else? There were several like Hollywood action stars in line that were shortlisted for this role.
on who to cast
So this is
as
probably a
Sonic.
legit studio
Clearly, this
mock-up
didn't
and not a
happen, but
fan
the point
thing.
is, this Sonic shares the same design as the 2017 test footage Sonic, which also shares design aspects from the supposed CinemaCon Sonic, meaning what was shown off in CinemaCon Brazil could have been the footage from the test pilot, just more edited and more completed. The test footage is so clearly
I
just
agree,
Sonic
LMA.
running down
I
the
like
road.
Marsden in the
Think
role a
about
lot.
it. Remember in the first trailer we had Sonic stretching, like he does in this image. We have him facing the camera as he's ready to run, like in this image. Then boom, he runs down the road, like in this image. What I'm trying to imply here is this test footage was seen to have been remade for the first movie's trailer. There's no scene like this in the movie though. Well, the closest being when Sonic runs down the road with the turtle.
Look at that
It
little
kinda looks
guy.
like this image in a way.
So much better than what
Both
we
have the camera facing Sonic as
way
he's running
better.
towards the camera running down the road. Just one has Sonic with the turtle, the other one he's just kind of running by himself. Man, look at Sonic's quills from the original test footage to
Yeah, that
the first
shit's
trailer.
rough,
You
baby,
can
rough.
definitely tell they are different designs. Aside from these couple of images, we're probably not going to ever see the full thing for a couple different reasons. Let me explain. The first reason is that those who were at CinemaCon were not allowed to record, meaning those who saw the teasers were not allowed to just record what they saw and post it online. You'd get in legal trouble for that. Along with that,
If
Patrick
they knew
Casey
it was
has
you.
said publicly that the teaser could never be released.
Chris
Not
Chan
only
probably
does it
hates
feature
Sonic
music
Arms are
that
Blue.
they didn't have the rights to, but
Why you
actors
gotta bring up
involved in
Chris
the
Chan? We're
project
trying to
didn't
have a
get
good
paid for
day
the
here.
work. Meaning, if they release this on a DVD, they could get in legal trouble. Obviously, why would Paramount go through all that just to get in trouble? Also, for those who don't know, Patrick Casey does work on the movies. So, yes, his word is solid. So, is this teaser lost media? To us, it is. To Paramount, they might have the footage, but locked up somewhere that we will never be able to see. Man, who knows? Maybe by Sonic Movie 10 when it comes out on Blu-ray, the
I hate it.
extras will have this test footage. It'll be so cool to see one day. But if it means legal issues would arise in order for the footage to come out, I don't see why Paramount would ever want to release it.
The lost opening of Sat AM. Okay, so I wonder, there is a foreign re-release, and it was actually aired on TV. I don't remember if it's Russian or some sort of European. But there's a foreign re-release of Sonic Sat AM, and it's literally just Katy Perry's song Last Friday Night, but re-recorded by some like band from that country and singing it in their language. I wonder if that's what this is in reference to.
Okay, let's move away from Sonic movies and talk about a Sonic TV show. More specifically, Sonic Sat AM. Sonic Sat AM has some interesting lost media. For example, we know of a lot of lost designs and lost characters in the show. Look at this. This was Sally Acorn before we got the design we
I hate it. I hate that Sally Acorn design. That's terrible. Almost like Sonic Satan creepypasta. I don't know if I've seen that one. There's so many Sonic the Hedgehog creepypastas. They are impossible to keep
Don't
up
know
with.
today.
I'm
We see all
actually
the-
thinking about doing a stream on the gaming channel where I play a bunch of these Sonic creepypasta games. So let me know if you guys would be interested in that.
these other characters here who would never make it to the show itself, meaning that this was the original Freedom Fighters, before we even got characters like Rotor or Bunny or Antoine. Man, even Eggman looked different too. Look at this. But okay, I guess this isn't technically lost media, now is it? Sonic
Maybe I'll do it for I'll put it this way. I have plans for what I'm doing on the gaming channel for the month of October. I'll just leave it at that.
the comic is why we're allowed to see these designs, you know? We know that they exist. We can see them anytime we want. This was always just concept art at the end of the day, meaning these were
That's
just concepts that
awesome,
never
Bron.
even got fully
That's
animated.
good
This
to
is
know.
all we have. This is all we need to see. You know what is lost though? The original Sonic Sat AM intro. You see, before Sonic Sat AM got its iconic intro that we all know of, There was one that existed before this. It was fully animated too. The thing is, we don't have the full footage of the fully animated intro. We do have the storyboard of the original intro that
Interesting. So this isn't what I was thinking of when it comes to the unofficial re-release with the Katy Perry stuff and whatnot, like the bootleg version. Huh. I didn't know about this. I'm impressed.
is pretty
Have you ever played, considered playing some, it's funny you mentioned that, Dempsey. Again, I will just let you all know, in October, I have plans, and there's a plan that involves that, but I won't say more.
different from the actual show's intro. It even features some early designs of characters like Sally and Tails. The intro even shows how Bunny got partially roboticized. This storyboard is
Damn,
only
that's
half of
cool.
the full thing, but we do know the intro was fully animated. Let me explain why. A lot of cells exist from the original intro. I'll show them on screen. These cells were made for this intro. They aren't used anywhere else in the show. Along with that, we
Dude,
do-
animation says, look how beautiful that looks. Hold on, let's go back a moment. I love animation cells, dude. I've showed up on stream before an animation cell from the original Star Wars Ewoks cartoon. It is framed and hanging in my living room. It's like my most prized Star Wars possession is an original animation cell from that cartoon. I would love to collect more of these animation cells. That is amazing. Yes, cell over CGI any day, Dempsey.
These cells were made for this intro. They aren't used anywhere else in the show. Along with that, we do have access to a couple seconds of the fully animated intro due to the Consumer Electronics Show in 1993. A VHS exists of someone who recorded this event, and during this event, the intro was played for everyone to see. This person managed to record a couple seconds of the end of the intro, meaning we have this footage here. It's not the best quality, but it's something.
That's still cool, though. That's
Along
That's
with that,
interesting.
In 2020, strangely, 1 second of the intro was uploaded as well. All we see is Sonic giving a thumbs up. But that's all we got. That's it. We don't have the full footage, and it might be hard to say if we ever will get it. The show's so old at this point.
Nah,
it doesn't
it would be amazing if we did. Like, so I won't say it's impossible because so much lost media does end up getting found over time. Like the stuff that people were asking for. There's entire subreddits that are dedicated to finding lost media, and the amount of success they end up having is actually really impressive. Like, Justin Wang has great videos about these subjects, like, you know, songs that came out in one summer in one, you know, random European country in like 1982 and was recorded on just a fucking tape recorder, and 30, 40 years later, the song gets found, and like bands reunite because it blows them up because people in the lost media sphere on the internet are searching for it. It's really wholesome, cool stuff.
like Sega cares that much for Sonic SatAM these days to even care about releasing this original intro. But it definitely would be a nice piece of lost media to find if we ever get our hands on the full intro. Because it could exist somewhere out there. I don't know, maybe in Deke's vault somewhere, who knows.
Well, Deke isn't
before
around
I move
anymore,
on to the
so.
next topic, I want to remind everyone to please hit like and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. Where else are you going to get cool Sonic facts?
He's Asian,
For the win,
Rabnat.
Let's hit 3,000 subscribers with your help. Okay, let's continue.
Wait, this dude not have a very big channel? Oh no! Hey, a 27,000 view video for only having 2,000 subscribers is pretty fucking good. Big ups to this guy. What the fuck are we getting into? Sonic bikini image?
You know what?
Oh, this is
I
gonna
want
be
to talk
cursed.
about a more silly one in this case. The Sonic bikini image. Where does it come from? Is it from a game that even exists? Let me explain. During the days of Sonic Adventure, a VHS tape was made to detail a bit of insight as to what Sonic Team was up to when making Sonic
Leon, remember the studio should have got leaked because of Napster, like extended cuts of the theme song? Yeah, I hadn't thought about that in ages, but I do remember that. Yes, absolutely.
Adventure. Now the thing is, this documentary, it's a very silly one. It's not a real documentary about how Sonic Adventure was made, and more like Sonic Team just messing around doing silly things like making a realistic hedgehog. Then we got this, Sonic Love Story, as we get Takashi Iizuka moving out of the way, showing the image of
This guy right here, Takashi Iizuka. Yeah, he's the director of Sega Sonic Team now. Like, anytime a new Sonic game comes out, I believe Sonic Frontiers was the first game where he took over, but I could be wrong. Either way, this guy sitting next to Bikini Sonic is the guy that's running the show. You'll love to see it. And yeah, it's just his head superimposed on. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. But wow, all right.
Bikini Sonic. So, is this real? Is there some lost Sonic love story video game out there? No, there's not. This is the only image we have of it because it's the only thing that exists for it. It was made to be a silly joke and nothing more. Is it considered lost media if we don't have the full quality image of the thing? Maybe. But also maybe this isn't something that we need a high quality image of, let's be so for real. Wait till Iizuka includes this as an alt costume in Crossworlds, trust.
And Sonic fans would buy it. Sonic fans would buy it. Dude, for real though. Radnaz DeviantArt is free real estate. Sonic Live in Sydney. Oh, I have no idea what this is. Okay, you know what? I like that there's some of this shit that I don't know. I'm learning. Dude. Yes, Sonic Crossworlds. I'm very excited for it as well. Mugen Lord, my buddy Mugen Lord, I think you guys have all seen Mugen Lord. He got early access to the game during the beta not too long ago. And yo, Cyphax, how you doing, homie? It's been a minute. But yeah, Mugen Lord got early access to the Sonic Crossworlds beta, and he put out a great video breaking down the mechanics, what he liked about it, what he didn't like. I'm not so happy about some of the weird-ass crossovers in the game, but, I mean, it's called Crossworlds, so I'll get over it. Plus, if the Ninja Turtles are in it, I'll finally be getting that Ninja Turtles Sonic crossover I've always wanted. So, you know what? Let's go, son.
Alright, this next one is very much unlike all the other ones I've talked about so far. Let me explain. Sega World Sydney was an amusement park in, you guessed it, Sydney. It opened its doors in 1997 and was in operation for almost 4 years. Sadly, it had to close its doors and get demolished.
That
okay,
is
what's lost about
depressing.
this? Some old Sonic statue? Well, okay, yes, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about Sonic Live in Sydney. Sonic Live in Sydney was an hour-and-a-half show.
Bro, please tell me this is the Sonic the Hedgehog version of that old school Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles coming out of their shells concert. Like, if Sonic had its own version of coming out of our shells, that would be dope.
Featuring Sonic, Tails, Eggman, and Sally. There are 2 different versions of the show. The first one was the costume version. The supposed story of the costume show was that Eggman crashes into Sydney and attempts to take over. Of course, Sonic and his friends would work together and put a stop to Eggman's plans. Think of Sonic 3, Eggman crashing into Angel Island, but instead of Angel Island, it's Australia. The reason I call this show the costume version is it features performers dressed up as all the characters while doing their performances.
Dude, I love it. I love it. I mean, in black and white, to be fair, in black and white, this shit looks like nightmare fuel. In black and white, this definitely looks like some Russian sleep experiment shit. But I imagine being a kid, like 5, 6 years old, Sydney, Australia, and you go and see this. I did fuck Chuck E. Cheese. We got Sonic the Hedgehog. This is awesome.
And we have a couple images of this, albeit not in the best quality. After a while, Sega thought the costumes were a little stale and not dynamic, so Sonic Live in Sydney became a puppet and animatronic show. The plot would change up as well.
Damn, look at this. I love the Sonic 2 and Sonic Saturday AM, just evil ass black Eggman eyes. Like, that shit's menacing, bro. Oh, yeah, Disney mascot vibes. I love that sort of shit. What up, Dax? How you doing? You came in at a good time.
Becoming a story about Sonic and friends having to defeat Grounder, the robot Eggman made to put a stop to Sonic. What's interesting is that for this version of Sonic in Sydney, we have a lot more images of how things look like, including the set too. Here we have images of Sonic, Tails, Sally, Eggman, Grounder, a bird.
I'll be real. I don't know about you guys. I like the costumes way more than the puppet. Like being a puppet in an animatronic show. Nah, dude, I like the big costumes more, like that Disney mascot shit.
The stage and announcer for Sonic and Tails. Honestly, the puppets look really good. They translated the designs pretty well.
That Tails one looks great as well.
Sally looks a little off though, I'm gonna be honest. Now with the puppet show, this is all we got. We don't have footage of it, there's no more images, and there's no CD released for it. I forgot to mention, but both shows were
Fighters
also
Mega Mix,
musicals.
that'd be sick.
What makes this an interesting case is that the first costume show did at least have an official release with its music. And it's
No
very easy to find
way! You get Sonic Live in Sydney stage show. I'm gonna have to bookmark that. I want to hear what this means. Hold on, you guys want to see? Let's get a taste of what this sounds like. Sonic Live in Sydney. Let's see. Give me a moment here. Sonic Live in Sydney. All right, I want to hear some of this music. Let's go.
Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. No, it's an old propeller-driven biplane. And it's driven by a pint-sized fox. It is Miles Prower, better known
What's the over/under on this narrator being related to Niet?
as Tails. His passengers just happen to be that Queen of the Freedom Fighters, Princess Sally Acorn, and the Blue Hedgehog.
Come on,
who
get
all
the
know so
music, though. Get
well
the music.
The fastest on planet Mobius, that all-time
What up, Noise
good
Pollution?
guy, none other than Sonic the Hedgehog. Oh no, something's wrong.
All right, I'm gonna skip forward a little bit. I want to hear the music.
Down at the bottom of the world.
How long is this intro?
Freedom fighter extraordinary.
Australia?
It is up to
All right.
I'm the dude with the attitude.
Oh yeah, big Ninja Turtles coming out of our cell vibes already.
Our red shoes. Those badnik ways are not for me. Gonna catch Robotnik and bring him to his knees.
All right, that's enough of that. But still, that was cool. That was fun. I'm just gonna keep that tabbed and check that out more on my own time later. That did sound like Jaleel White, though. I mean, I know it's not, but whoever's doing the impersonation, the impression, did sound like Jaleel White. I liked that. I'll report back to you on whether or not Knuckles gets rat Piranha Pout
on YouTube. So while there's no footage or many pictures of the first show, at least we have the songs and audio for it easily available. The second show was just sadly out of luck in terms of having its music and audio released. Meaning not only is the show itself...
when did this happen, Dempsey? I believe he said that Sega World Sydney was open from, he said it was open for 4 years and that it started in, I think he said 93? I think he said Sega World opened in 93, so this is somewhere in between, like, 93 to 95, and it was open for 4 years.
Lost, but even its music as well. The best we have is that we at least know some lyrics of some of the songs in the second show. Feel free to pause to really read them through if you're so curious to. If I were to guess as to why the second show never got an audio release, I feel like Sega just might have been more...
Yes, I agree, Cyvax. Some of those puppets are nightmare fuel, but valiant effort. Dude, I love shit like that. Maybe it's the nostalgia. Maybe it's the just the one thing for a similar time, because something like this nowadays would be like put on TV screens, be projected. I heard they took the animatronics out of Chuck E. Cheese. Now I'm an adult male in my 30s. I have no reason to go to Chuck E. Cheese. In fact, if I were to go there, I'd be put on a fucking list. But like, how are you gonna take the animatronics out of Chuck E. Cheese, bro? That's the appeal. What? I mean, that and of course the tokens and the games and the pizza, but mostly the animatronics.
We're worried about Sega World Sydney shutting down than having to release a CD audio for this show. Different priorities. Despite it all, I really hope the puppets somehow made it out. I don't know, guys. They looked cool. Maybe they're locked in some vault under where Sega World Sydney stood. Or maybe Sega has them chilling in their office.
Lost Archie comics, let's go. The Archie comics, that is peak Sonic the Hedgehog besides the game Sonic Adventure. I'm here for it. Let's go.
The Archie comics were an important part of Sonic's history. They are some of the longest running comics made for the Sonic series, Heck, for any video game.
I gotta be honest though, I prefer the whole Showbiz crew over Chuck E. Cheese being front and center. I'm not. It's been so long since I've been to a Chuck E. Cheese. I'm not actually even sure what that is, unfortunately.
Series, but all of you guys know that they got canceled in 2017 for a lot of reasons. Regardless of what those reasons may be, due to the comics being abruptly canceled, you can imagine a lot of issues that were in development never got to see the light of day.
Went to Chuck E. Cheese like 6 years ago for a friend's kid's birthday, and it was awful. Bring back, dude, Discovery Zone was the shit. My dad used to take me to Discovery Zone when I was a kid, and that shit was awesome. I might have somewhere stored away at my dad's house photos of he and I, me like as you know, knee high to a grasshopper, and him like Discovery Zone was awesome.
Let's
What up,
focus on
Demon
the
Carol?
main series of issues for this section. Sonic the Hedgehog ended with issue 290, which simply put was an adaptation of Sonic CD. It isn't anything too crazy for an issue.
Wait,
and especially
really,
for
UAF
something as
Omega?
the
It's
last
because of
issue Archie
of
Sonic. But it was a nice little story meant to
Five
show
Nights
the
at
events
Freddy's?
of Sonic CD, but in comic form. The issue ends with Sonic going off to find the Time Stones. That said, there are at least 5 more issues planned before the comic was cancelled. Issues 291 all the way to issue 295. Issue 291 would have had a comic adaptation of another classic game, this time being Sonic 3 and Knuckles.
The best
putting
of the
focus
Genesis
on
games.
Sonic and Tails,
Best
who
of the
landed
Genesis
on Angel
games.
Island, but Knuckles thinks the two are enemies coming for the Master Emerald, which results in Sonic and Tails going up against Eggman and Knuckles. Now, while the comic was cancelled, meaning we never got the full release, there's still a couple of things related to this issue we can find. The cover was fully done. It's fully drawn and fully...
I like the art on the left more than the one on the right. One looks like, yeah, it says variant. So the one on the right's a variant cover. It looks a whole lot more like the modern modern 2D style stuff they're doing, like with Sonic Origin and whatnot. But the one on the left has that OG Western Sonic art, complete with like the black eyes. Dude, that art on the left, that's peak nostalgia, baby.
painted.
Oh, you were just joking,
Along with
UF Omega?
we also
Damn.
have access to all 20 pages of the issue thanks to Tracy Yardley, who drew the comic's art. But the pages were only ever penciled and inked, meaning they never got to be fully finished or colored in. And that's all we got of this comic. It's great we still have some parts of it, even if sadly we'll never get a fully finished issue 291. Issue 292 would have gone back to the modern cast of characters. The story would have had Sonic and friends going on to their next adventures after the previous Shattered World Crisis arc, which was an Unleashed adaptation of sorts. It just seems like it would have been a calm issue showing what everyone was up to and what storylines would be in store for them next. That said, the comic didn't get too
so it was
far,
a
as we have
through line
the
issue.
cover, which was fully finished, and 12 pages that were sketched and inked. Like the previous issue, we don't have access.
Dude, it's such a sad state of affairs that the Archie comics got canceled, man. Dude, fuck Ken Penders. Fuck Ken Penders.
To a fully finished comic, and chances are a fully
A
finished
poignant
comic may
pick?
not even
Oh
exist.
dear, what am I getting into? Alright, react requests. Oh. Showbiz Pizza Place. I don't think we had these where I lived growing up. I don't remember this at all. Yeah, that doesn't like that's I get the vibe like evokes nostalgia and whatnot of what's in the Discord. Here, let me pull it up on screen so you guys can see it. Give me one moment here. Yeah, here we go. Open link. So yeah, this is what Dempsey's referring to, and yeah, I don't think where I live in the Midwest we had Showbiz Pizza Place, but this is cool. I dig it. I definitely would have loved something like this if I saw it as a kid. Huh. Thank you for that, Dempsey. Appreciate you.
Issue 293, like the others, has a fully finished cover. The story would have taken place in Studiopolis Zone and features Sonic and Honey on the set of a TV show called Sonic Man Heroes, in which it's a show about Sonic Man and other human people dressed as Sonic's friends.
I
The story
love
would
the
have had
Super
Eggman
Sentai
crash
reference
onto the
there.
set and talk about his problems with
I
the
agree,
show.
Mars Monkey Max.
Kinda feels
Archie
like
comics
that
were
one
awesome.
episode of Sonic Boom where Eggman was making a movie. We don't have any art of the pages inside, but what we do have is concept art showing all of Sonic Man's friends inside and outside the costumes.
I love it.
Here's
I love it. I
Sonic,
wish we'd have gotten
Tails,
this.
Knuckles, Amy, Cream, and even Eggman. Issue 294 would have had 2 stories. The first story would have been an adaptation of Sega Sonic the Hedgehog, The cover shows a focus on Sonic, Mighty, and Ray. The second would have been called Baking Bad. Yes, it's a reference. It would have featured a story about Bunny and Antoine doing competitive cooking. And that's it.
And you know
All
what?
we
I
have is
still
this
would have read it,
completed
and I
cover for
still
the
would have
Sega
loved
Sonic
it.
story and the variant cover for the Baking.
Yeah, Demon Carol. So the Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday streams start at 1 p.m. my time. I have no idea what time that is for you, but if it is, it's almost 3 my time. So if it is nearly, 5:30 a.m. for you, yeah. So the Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday streams are notably earlier because they're for lunch hours for people in the U.S. It takes place when people would normally be eating lunch. And it's just something for folks to listen to on their lunch break. I react to videos that are posted in the Discord, and then I cover interesting news. We talked about oh man, we didn't get to the Shin Godzilla stuff. Oh well, that's fine. That's fine. We can do a video on it or something.
Bad story. No more art exists for this issue. Issue 295 doesn't even have a plot description, so we don't know what the story would have been about at all. What we do know is thanks to Tracy Ardley, we have this unfinished cover for the story. The cover shows the...
Even as an unfinished cover, just slap a title on there and give it some binding. Keep it black and white. That's a cool looking cover.
Ghost from Sonic Unleashed, hinting at a story possibly involving these three. Other than that, we don't know much about this issue, and that would be the last issue to discuss for the main run too. There's nothing more to discuss in terms of an issue 196.
Super Genesis Wave is what you're talking about, I think, Mars Monkey Max.
These issues never got a fully finished treatment, and probably never will. IDW is thriving, and it doesn't seem like Sega wants to go back to Archie.
How are you going to end with Sonic Extreme? Okay, you're probably going to end with the most known thing of all time. But yes, this is the canceled Sonic Extreme game. This media, while lost, more aptly put, destroyed. We are never getting Sonic Extreme in totality. Ever.
Sonic the Hedgehog is a gaming franchise, so I think it's fitting that the last topic of lost media I discuss is related to a lost video game. There's so many of these, but the one I really want to discuss is Sonic Extreme.
But actually, Bucket Rings, I thought you said you didn't want to talk about Sonic Extreme in this video.
Yes, I know, my dear and beloved viewer, I did say that, but this Sonic Extreme is different. The one I'm talking about isn't the same Sonic Extreme that was made and cancelled for the Sega Saturn. This Sonic Extreme was a skateboarding game. Back in 2003,
Wait, what? Really? I have never heard of this. A Sonic skate... Dude, as someone that grew up with, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 being the pinnacle of the PlayStation 1, alright.
Interactive made a little prototype game meant to be a skating game for the Sonic
What up,
series.
Owen Collecting?
Now in this game, at least in this very early build, you could only play as Sonic and Shadow. You'd be skateboarding around skate parks based on Sonic levels, collecting rings, power-ups, and keys to then collect the Chaos Emeralds. There was different modes to this game. The mission mode of the game is where you'd collect the Chaos Emeralds. There was also a combat mode and even a racing mode. Now then, how do we know about this game? It's not like it was ever officially released, so how is it that we as Sonic fans even know about this? Well, you see, an early build of the game was found in 2011 on an Xbox developer kit, having a build date of May 27, 2000.
This is the shit I was here for. When it says Sonic Lost Media, I was expecting stuff like this. So he's bringing it home strong. Dude, someone gets an Xbox developer kit, they're monkeying around with it, and they find an unfinished build for a prototype Sonic skateboarding game. That's that good Lost Media shit. These are the vibes I came for.
2003. This game was technically found, so yay, it's not lost media. Now as to why it was never made, well, if you think about it, kinda was. Listen,
it
Sega
looks
was
way
not
too
interested
slow,
in
but
this
again,
section.
dude, right?
Kinda
Sonic Pro
Think
Skater,
about it
I'm
this
in.
way. Look at Sonic Riders. It's a game featuring the Sonic cast on these, well, not skateboards, but close enough to skateboards, Extreme Gear. It was made just a couple years after 2003, which if you ask me, while this isn't officially confirmed, I believe Sega, after seeing this game, definitely took ideas from this game and transformed it into Sonic Riders. It definitely feels that way. I mean, the Extreme Gear are pretty much like skateboards, except they hover off the ground. And obviously, we got Sonic and Shadow.
Yeah,
in the
but
game,
man,
and even all these original.
look.
characters
I
as
like
well,
I like the
Battle
Sonic
on
Riders
Road.
games. I do. I like the Sonic Riders games. They're fine. But man, do I wish we had a Tony Hawk Pro Skater style like competitive skating game instead of a racing game. That would have been sick.
Folks, you could definitely make
Agreed,
a case that
EB.
after
Let's
seeing
hot tub
the
time
game,
machine that shit.
Sega just kind of took these ideas and turned it into Sonic Riders, and we got that whole sub-series. So technically, in some twisted way, we
No,
got
that is
Sonic-
not your imagination at all, Demon Carol. Like, even Spyro the Dragon, Spyro 3 got skateboarding segments because, yeah, you said, okay, I didn't read your whole comment. Yeah, I finally remember Spyro 3. Dude, Spyro 3 did it. Several games did it. Like, because of the immense popularity of skateboarding in the 90s and the carryover into the early 2000s, so many video games had skateboarding mini games in them. And then, like, Tony Hawk was always super cool about putting, like, fictional characters in their games. You had Spider-Man and Pro Skater 2. You had Jango Fett, and I think it was Tony Hawk's Underground. Like, bro, skate culture was insane. I grew up skating because, like, dude, after my dad got me Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 and I fell in love with it, I got into, like, actually skating. I was never great, but I did that shit all the time. I fucking love it. I skated up until, like, a year or so before my kid was born. I was skating up until, 12 years ago.
Extreme. Just probably not how we all imagined it. Whoa. I think that's it. I think that's all the lost media I'm going to talk about in this video. Let me know in the comments any lost media you guys know about, because I definitely would want to make a part 2
Yeah, there's way more. I'll let the video play out. I'll give him his watch
in
time.
the future if this video does well. There's so much in terms of lost media related. to
Demon Carol, I tried
Sonic the Hedgehog.
skateboarding once
Thank
and
you
only
for
once.
watching, everyone.
That's a
Links
story
in
for a
the
lot of folk.
description if you guys
One
wanna look
nasty
further
fall
into
and you're like,
the
nope,
lost media
fuck
I talked
this.
about in this video. Subscribe.
Alright, good video. I'll give the dude a like. I'll drop it in the chat real quick in case you guys want to give the guy a like or whatnot, since he did just farm us content for the last hour or so, or the last 40 minutes of the stream. Alright, we're going to go ahead and call the stream here. Let me see who's live, and we'll raid into somebody. Give me a moment. Let's see. And then I'll do some plugs and shills and stuff like that. So, give me just un momento, and you guys can talk amongst yourselves in the chat there. Who is live? See, Mama Akko is live. Oh, you know what? No, let's raid Mama Akko. I like Mama Akko. I'm just going to say it right there. We're going to raid Mama Akko. Make sure when the stream ends, everybody types Vital Idol raid. We raid Mama Akko. Send that Leon love, baby. Beyond that, I did release a video today. Ubisoft must be stopped, because Ubisoft, I shit you not, guys, Ubisoft made a statement that microtransactions make games more fun. I'm not making that shit up. So, yeah, we're gonna, if you guys have not seen today's video, check that out. If you didn't watch yesterday's video, check that out as well. And I will see you all later tonight for Saturday Night Hypnosis. Thank you so much. It's been a great week of the first week of full-time streaming. Y'all made it amazing. And, yeah, I think I'm gonna go get some shit done around the house before I have to chill with the bigot army on Saturday Night Hypnosis. Again, we're going to raid Mama Akko. Shout out, go Vital Idol raid in Mama Akko's chat. Let's go. Deuces. It's all here in the Nerdosphere.